or Department of Education.
Yeah.
I was like MFs that's going to like Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
And they're also knocking those Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're knocking like educated. Yeah. I started reading this in 1984 again. I read the book several times.
1984.
George Orwell. Well, I'm saying the name wrong, but 1984. The Sporian.
I gotta go check that out.
You probably read it when you was in high school, like the middle school or high school. He also wrote Animal Farm.
Yeah. I remember Animal Farm, but I don't. You know what? I did.
Yeah.
I just don't remember everything connected to it. I did Animal Farm first, and then 1980.
Yeah, because in 1984 they talk about double speak, Department of Love, Department of it's like all these different things, but it's like crazy. But they're like war is love, right? The war is peace.
They flipped everything.
Everything is flipped. Basically, educated is not safe. So like it's like you're talking about bringing you back in. It's like, hey, it's easy to control you, but not saying it's easy to control you when you don't know, and the constant changing of history.
What's crazy to me is all of these people that are speaking. We don't need education or educated, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like in order the people that are making the decisions are the ones who went and got education,
and they typically go into Ivy League schools.
Yeah,
and they know the law.
Yeah.
Like talking about like 1980 Animal Farm. Instead of reading it this time, I went out. I did an audiobook. I'm like, man, how it started off. Animals took over the Jones's farm. It was like legit. Like they wanted like harmony amongst all the animals. So everybody's this equity amongst everybody.
Ideally.
Huh?
Ideally.
Yeah. And then, the pigs in control.
Yeah.
Because they're the most educated. There was also the most educated. So they started controlling the narrative and changing history. It's like, it always goes back to like that history change. Every single time. It's like, we're going to erase things in the past. But when you erase things from the past, you're bound to repeat them again.
Absolutely. You ready?
So I guess we're live and ready to go.
Yeah.
My name is Chris.
I'm Kervin.
All right. Welcome to another episode of 3 Roles, 1 Mission.
Yeah.
That first role is
dad,
lover,
and provider.
So
we're gonna as we get our footing right, we're trying to like make sure that we bring each perspective when we come up with a topic or whenever we're coming at you about something. We try to give each perspective because sometimes they're the same. They intertwine like they did the last episode, and sometimes they're distinctively different. But yeah, we're gonna always try to give you all those 3 perspectives. That's something that we have in a balance every day in and day out.
It's like a balanced perspective. Being an entrepreneur, me being an entrepreneur, and both working other places. Well, me working at other places. You full-time entrepreneur?
Nah, I'm working at other places too.
So you know what?
Yeah,
you got me lying. I was about to tell a lie.
No, well, I was full-time full-time entrepreneur up until January of this year. And then I had to try to hustle and make some more moves because we got a couple of trips planned.
Yeah.
So I needed that.
That's that rich person stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's those champagne problems.
Yeah. I guess. But like that meme you sent me, you sent it to me yesterday. Being an entrepreneur is wild. You can have $3.22 on Monday, $64,000 on Wednesday, and $1.57 on Friday. and that was so true.
That's so true. I remember.
So true.
When I was a full-time entrepreneur,
yeah,
I come out a weekend with $80,000 in the account.
Mm-hmm.
By the time Wednesday hit, I'm wondering how I'm going to pay the rest of the bills for the rest of the week.
Yeah. or the rest of the month.
The rest of the month.
Yeah.
But as we was talking, if you call any of our conversation at the beginning of this podcast, I can't even talk, and hope we edit that out. But we're not. This is real.
Like it is what it is.
It's us. We're straight no chaser.
Yeah.
But we was talking about how some of the most educated people in the world in this country right now that's in leadership roles are harping on or encouraging mediocrity and lack of education. Yeah. So,
and a lot of this episode stemmed from, well, we talk all the time about education versus educated, but recently there's been a lot of things popping up in my timeline about black males, specifically not going to school, not being in colleges, although the study came from them looking at HBCU, not all schools.
But actually they did.
Oh, they looked at all schools?
It said overall, black males is less than, I think it said 14 to 15%. And we'll fact check ourselves and put the correct information on there of overall population of kids in college, young men, people in college. The highest percentage of people of group people in college is black women.
Yeah.
Black women. Shout out to my wife, your wife, and all the black women. Also the producer's wife. You know, my mom, your mom. You know, I love her too.
Yeah, my mom too. Yep.
They statistically, came out that they are the most educated people in the United States.
Yeah. I saw a video that said, if we're talking DEI and making sure that the most qualified person gets the position,
it should be a black woman.
Then black women should be running America, right? I don't know how I feel about that, but and when I say I don't know how I feel about it, I just don't know how I feel about it. I would want to run America.
So you wouldn't?
I would.
I don't know.
I would want it.
That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind running anything. I would mind.
So you should run for office.
Well, that's a possibility. I won't say never.
Never say never. That's right.
Yeah, I won't never say never. But so we talking about education versus educated.
Oh, but we start our podcast off with one way every single time, at least since the third or fourth episode. You should normally have a question and like to loosen us up to get us comfortable and start talking.
So jar conversations where we kind of pull which we haven't done, pull from a jar, just a random topic, but we haven't done it because we talk offline and so on and so forth. So the one today, it comes from just a random statement that was given in a debate. I trust law enforcement. What's your thoughts? I trust law enforcement. While you gathering your thoughts, I'm gonna go ahead and give you mine. I trust them to be who they're gonna be, or who they are. In other words, if I'm walking around like this, add a necktie, add a bow tie, I'm good. If I'm dressed more like you, which sometimes I do. Sometimes I got a hoodie on. Sometimes I got jogging pants on. I try to make sure that I engage in a way that they know I'm not the picture that's painted in their head. I'm not a threat. Yeah. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. I'm not who you think I am, and I'm thinking that you thinking that I'm somebody, not necessarily to be feared, but somebody to be dealt with. So
to read it, if you're being feared, it's not because you're a black man, because you're an educated black man.
But they don't know that with me and my jogging pants on. They don't know I'm educated.
As soon as you open your mouth, they know they're dealing with a brother.
Maybe.
That knows something.
Maybe. I hope so.
I hope you know.
Yeah. But so do I trust law enforcement? I trust them to be who they're gonna be. I try to set it up in a sense where I am trusting of them. That's the best way for me to explain it, man. And mind you, when I used to say stuff like this, it is what it is, right? you think about law enforcement, how you think about it. But in more recent years, I have friends. I got a god brother who's in it. I have people that's close to me that are law enforcement, right? And people that I haven't always utilized in when I've been in certain situations where I probably should have made a call and said, "Hey, I got this going on. What should I do, or how should I move? Can you make a call for me?" Uh, certain people do that.
Yeah.
Why we don't do it, I don't know.
Okay. Who does it?
Huh? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a certain group of people. But
It is that group of people, not always black or white.
Right.
See, it's people in a certain socioeconomic group that utilize the connections. It doesn't matter. It matters. Race at that point kind of it matters your social economic
privilege matter, not necessarily race.
social economic.
Yeah.
Your privilege is different.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, do I trust law enforcement in a broad scope? No. But I trust them to be who they gonna be.
Good.
That's my best way of saying it.
So, how do I answer this question? One of my good friends, known since high school.
Yeah, good dude. Good dude.
If every cop, every police officer was like him,
yes,
I can say I wholeheartedly trust every police officer. I met some officers when I was full-time entrepreneur, made connections with them, even the community cops that was in my neighborhood when I was living up north. But I've had experiences throughout my lifetime. Nothing physically happens to me, but there's emotional things that happen that I've been able to deal with. So do I trust, like you said, I trust you to be who you want to be. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
Like I trust you. I trust anybody as far as I know.
Yeah.
Some people a little bit further, but as far as I know.
You think cops should be educated? I've seen that too, where like, you know, the people we're placing in charge, right? They have to have a high school diploma, and I can't remember if they can be 18. No, they have to be 21.
21. 20 or 21.
They go to the academy, and that's
academy. It. But I think it. I'm not 100% sure because I know a boy. He's working on it. I think he has his master's now. Like he went in, he did all these things before he went. Before he was able to go to the academy. He did his stuff, working towards becoming a police officer. He didn't go to college. He didn't have a desire or a drive to go to college at that time. But as the longer he served, and also to move up, he had to get certain credentials and certain degrees. Mm-hmm. So, do I think? I see. I'm gonna equate being a police officer to a trade, right? You learn your craft by going through the academy, and being on the field with an experienced officer. Mm-hmm. Great. But I think sometimes some psychology classes, or even a degree in psychology or sociology, could be helpful. So yes, you're educated in your field. You should also seek education in other things to be better educated in what you do.
But definitely, so what I'm hearing you say is how we might not know, but definitely need to have some education beyond just being in the field.
And not necessarily getting a degree, but continual education.
CEUs.
Yes. Yeah. And then it might be also beneficial to be in a situation where you are putting those things in practice. Because when you go back in the field, you are putting it in practice. And back up. Being able to have a conversation and being able to talk reasonably amongst your peers, and also layman people what you know, your knowledge, to help somebody who's in trouble or needs your assistance or who's combative. You know, like having that education, be it a degree or not degree, learn continual learning.
Yeah.
That's what's needed. And being able to be open. If you really work with the public, being able to help educate. If I stop you, this is why I'm stopping. And being able to keep calm and not take offense. They might need to also go to therapy too.
Yeah, well, I think that they should definitely do group therapy.
Yeah.
If not individual, just to be able to process some of the things that they're seeing. Because even when I say I trust them to be who they're going to be, I don't meet every person,
Sure.
right? And I don't see what they're facing. When I do look at some of these videos, it's like, oh, they facing that every day where they're coming in kind, they're coming in a respectful manner, and then this person takes advantage of that, and now they have to react accordingly. So I get that too. Even in my field of study, I hate to say this, I probably shouldn't say this on this platform, but on any platform, but you get a feel for people, and when they come in, you can begin to see who's going to put in the work, who's ready to do the work, not quite ready, who's here for whatever reasons. You begin to be a better judge of people, even though it's a non-judgmental space. I'm automatically, as a human being, going to have some type of thought process on the individuals that are facing me. And I have to intentionally take that judgment away or say, okay, I got to give them a chance. I got to clear this space for them. And sometimes people prove me wrong. A good bit of time they prove me wrong. But there are times where I'm proven right in a certain situation. But because of that, we have to put certain things into place. No call, no shows, right? You have to put a certain limit on it. Otherwise, sometimes people will take advantage of it, right? Some therapists, they ask, when do I get payment? Do I get payment up front? Do I get payment in the end? Because you start to feel, you start to see people who are, their copays are mounting, or they just flat out don't want to pay.
Yeah.
After receiving services, their insurance denied it for whatever reason.
I'm telling you, my therapist, you better have direct payment, and your system better not go down.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't say, hey, yo, Chris, we're changing systems over. In my mind, it's like, you need to go ahead and export my stuff over to your new system, because I might not go do it right away.
All right, Chris, we got to get into this, because we on jar conversation. Let's get into.
Well, we went to, like, that jar conversation went to the education, educated.
From a dad perspective.
From a dad perspective, I have 3 kids. You have 3 kids.
No. I got 4.
Apologize.
I got 2 boys, 2 girls.
You got 4.
Yeah.
All right. So I know for me, for instance, education has always been important. I'm not gonna say I was the smartest person in my household, but I'm smart enough. I know how to navigate. But education has always been important in our house.
In your household now, or your household growing up?
Now.
Okay.
That's a different story too.
Yeah.
Because education levels in my, that's, as they get back to that. But education always was forefront inside the house. When the baby was born, when they came to the house, it was already being read to. Already having conversations about, as they started to notice things, having small conversations on their level about where things were. Like, if they learned something at preschool, elementary school, saying, hey, this is more. Also, this is a book these are books you can read. So being educating, and education has always been important in our household. I'm not embarrassed to say it, like, academically, Kisha is a much better in a different place than I am. But we're both educated, smart people. But we have our brains work in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
And there's encouragement for them to exceed. There's expectation. There's expectation that they don't bring anything less home in a certain grade. Kisha, my wife, if they bring home a 89, she's like, that's 11 points. What happened to 11 points? So what could you have done better to get those 11 points? Like she's that person's like, A is a 93, and you got 89. That's 4 points. You only need 4 more points to be an A. Like if you can be that close, so you can be that much further ahead.
I with that right there, I'm gonna just piggyback off of that. In our household, of course, education was just as important. I think me and my wife both look at the end goal more so than your effort and the end goal. The end goal is graduation. Your effort, how much effort did you put into it?
Yeah.
I'm less concerned. I say I'm less concerned about A's, B's, C's, and D's. What was your effort and what was the end goal? When I say I'm less concerned, I don't like D's. I don't like C's. I will accept C's. C's and D's equal degrees is what we used to say back in the day. But I don't lead in with that, right? And then there is, I have friends. You said you're not academically on the level as Keisha. I don't know what your grades was. I don't think I ever looked at your grades. But I feel like I have friends in my friend group who wasn't making A's and B's. But they were highly successful. They obviously graduated college and then went out and did their own thing. So I tried not to focus so much on the grade itself, but then it hurts me because I try not to focus on it, because I will get a C and it's like, you could have did better than that C.
So that's more of a pushing thing. And this expectation you're going to bring the best you can. But as Black parents especially, and I know we don't want to hear this, we know what we've been through, and also that they need to be doing 10 times better. They need to be doing better than they can to make sure they get.
Yeah.
Because I'm not always concerned about grades. I'm concerned about effort too. But if you can get a good, if you have a, graduate top 10% of your class and get a scholarship, that saves you some money.
Yeah. Also, from a dad perspective, man, when it comes down to education, if you don't, I wanted every one of my kids to go to college. That remains to be seen whether that's going to happen. But I wanted them to go to college. I wanted them to experience some of the same things that I experienced, but I also wanted them to graduate. Yeah. But I was careful in letting them know that they didn't absolutely have to go. They could, if they got a plan to do something else. I worked at UPS for a while, one of those hustlers. And I think UPS is a great company for somebody who don't want to go to school. It allows you to move up. It's just based off of strictly numbers and opportunity. When I say opportunity, is this person moved out of the way because they retired, this person got hurt, or this person left. Yeah, it's just next man up. It's not it's some politics to it, as with anything, but it's really just next man up. And so from that standpoint, if somebody didn't want to go to school, I always say, hey, go to UPS and you can make school like money. So just having a
maybe a question, but doesn't UPS have a tuition and reimbursement?
Yes, they do. Not every single job. No, not every single facility. So at certain facilities, I don't know why it's set up like this, but certain facilities have tuition reimbursement and certain facilities don't. And that may change. It may have already changed since I left. But the time that I was there, they do have tuition reimbursement, and they actually partner with a college to make that even easier. But certain places don't have it. But yeah, and there's so many other companies like that. That do have tuition reimbursement. I feel like there's no reason not to get educated. You can go into your trade first. You can go into the work field first. But very much like you was talking about with your friend, start off with maybe a certification just to enhance what you're already doing, or something that you might even be interested in, and then just build upon that. The thing that I've done really, really bad on is, of all the things that I've done, I don't keep a record of it. I get certified. I go this place. I go to this training. I do this thing. and I don't keep a record. I'm continuously building and learning myself. I would love to think that I'm a leader in my field, and I say I would love to think. I think I need to do a little bit more and strive a little bit harder to become a bona fide, definitive leader in my field nationally or globally, I should say.
Look at your ass organized.
You ain't got to cuss at me like that,
But
all right. But that's a work in progress, and that's a goal for me. But definitely from my kids' standpoint, I want them to get education with a piece of paper that say as such. But I'm more concerned with them being educated and just always learning, being open to learn, so that they can be the best that they can be in whatever avenue that they decide to take.
So taking that part, you want them to be educated first, and I agree with that, because you can get all the education in the world and not do anything with it because you're not able to think.
Yeah,
and don't know how to research to become educated. Education is what information is given to you, and lots of people can memorize things and pass a test. What can you do with it beyond the test? How can you talk to it beyond the test?
how can you apply it
beyond the test?
Yes.
So yes, you talk about this, like I think I said at the beginning. It was talking when camera came on. At one point, I fell into that box. Like, man, college is on me. College, nobody, you don't have to go to college. And then I started thinking about it. And at times, yes, I've said this like 5 years ago, right before my first kid went to college. Like, let me take that back, because I have my degree. And what did I gain? Some of the things that I gained from my degree, I probably didn't have the highest GPA, but I gained connections.
Mm-hmm.
The skills that I learned in school from when I completed college. Then you form an organization, and we built a connection with the school president.
We learn how to advocate for ourselves in that process, right?
And those things paid off when I graduated college, started and went to the workforce. So I knew how to be political when it needed to be political. I knew how to make those connections with somebody who was in a different class, in a sense. Like, my regional manager could have been come in, or the president of the company come in, and that. Being able to speak to my college president, I had no fear of speaking to the president or CEO of the companies that I worked in. I'm able to walk through and not fear, but also learn how to prepare for conversations I'm having with somebody who's in a different leadership role than I am.
And we was really blessed while we was on campus, because the president at that time, I cannot remember his name, but to me, he appeared to be very open-minded. He wanted to have a conversation with us. He didn't change every single thing, but he wanted to hear. And if he could apply to make it applicable to the school, he did.
Yeah, he did.
If he didn't, he didn't. But he came to various events. He talked to us, and you can really tell that he was listening. He
did the panel.
It wasn't just a photo op.
He said on the panel with us.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he sat on the panel, and we had questionnaires. Remember Dr. Burke?
Yeah.
The advisor for our organization.
Yeah.
He was a different character, but I loved him.
And for those who are watching that don't know me and Chris, we went to a PWI, which is predominantly white institution, which was really great for us. It was a good institution. I don't have no qualms with it. But at the time that we were there, at that time, they didn't have any type of organization or any focus on the minorities that were coming on campus. But I think that one of the great things about them at that time was they were willing to listen.
Yeah.
They were willing to accept us and not try to change us and say, hey, just assimilate. Listen, and they allow us a platform to create things, and they supported what we created. They didn't just say, all right, you created it, we signed off on it.
That's it.
And that's it. They supported it.
They were about the action. They were about the actions. Remember the mentoring program we was part of for that first 2 years?
Yep. That was and that kept going for years after that. Now we didn't start that, but we was a part of it.
But we had the opportunity to come in to be working with these young kids, which I think was inspirational to me. Like, I came from a different socioeconomic class, and lots of those kids came in. But we was looked up like the big brothers.
Yeah.
Like, look at the teachers invited us to their school.
Yeah.
To hang out with them. Like, it happened several times. Like, and their behavior was different when we got to that school.
And that experience, again, you're talking about experiences that we may not have had in a work setting, because your work setting is what? You got to do this work. We got to get this out. We had an opportunity to engage and be with people and experience them and know how to connect with them. Even to that point, right? I've ran into some of those kids that we mentored. They're not kids now; they're adults, and they remember me. I remember them, and we're able to have adult conversations. And a lot of them, I would say, I don't know how many kids came through that program, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 70% rate of them going on to develop to something greater. 7 out of 10 ain't bad, or 8 out of 10. And it might be more than that. But every kid that I've seen, I haven't seen one kid who are in a bad situation that I've literally seen after that. But another thing was, when we're talking about our experiences, you've been in a job, I've been in a job where we've had people from different backgrounds. We experienced that while we was on campus. So we were able to engage people from different backgrounds, and we learned then. We learned people. Of course, nobody is a monolith. No group is monolithic.
Sure.
But you do begin to see things. I don't care what nobody say. All groups got certain characteristics, certain patterns that they present. Black people, a lot of them like music. A lot of them gonna move to that music,
And
they're gonna feel their way.
and no matter where they're from.
Yeah, no matter where they're from in the world.
If that drum beat drops and it's hot.
Yeah. And then I see some what I call white people, but I guess they call a lot of different things. But they tend to monetize things very good. From my experience, they know how to monetize. I can't get mad at that. I can learn from it, but to me, that group does that.
They go back to being educated, and utilizing your education.
Yes.
To be educated, like looking at different patterns and things. Like you're talking about our experience from college. For a long time, I was in retail management, and having to come from the background I came in, and also the experience in school, I was able to deal with a lot of that staff and come to the place where they need to be. They need me to be for the understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you utilize college in a good manner, you can set yourself up for those things. Going to college is one thing I do believe, and I wish I did this for myself, and I might encourage my son to do it. Hey, take a year off. Don't stop me yet. Take a year off. You think you want to be a therapist? So hey, pops, anybody who's a therapist, I would love to have be my mentor for like 6 months. I'm start school in the fall and the spring instead of the fall. I want to make sure that's something I might want to do, or take a semester or two, maybe you can afford it, and travel someplace. Work flights. I'm gonna work. Dad, I'm gonna work 3 months, save my pennies, and I will spend a month and a half in Tanzania, or I will spend a month and a half someplace, experience life, or find a place where I think, because we put lots of pressure on our kids to figure out what they want to do. Absolutely, early. You graduate high school, you want to be you already know you want to be a lawyer. You already know you want to be a professional musician. If that's what you say you want to do, okay, I support you. But just imagine if you can afford to do this. I'm gonna go and spend some time taking lessons and experiencing and seeing what it's like to see if I want to do. Because how many times you change your major? 5. Okay.
5 times.
So point being,
5.
so like, and I got a degree in music. I thought I was gonna be a music teacher, playing regional orchestra stuff. I got a degree in general music. Ended up being a retail manager, brewery, bartender, bartending service, catering, pop-ups, you know, but would it have been wise for me to major in business or accounting? No. I'll tell you why. Because I would have flunked out. Because that wasn't my interest. Like I didn't a general degree, like a BA, perfect for me.
When you say that, I don't suggest, first of all, that anybody change their major 5 times. Unless you want to be in school 7 years.
But if you do change your major, make sure you change your major to something that your credits can transfer over to easily.
Yeah, as you're changing all these majors. When it comes down to education, how do you think it relates in relationships? When we talk about being a lover, right? How does it relate? And for me, my thought process is going back to navigating problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
You have a tendency to do that really well in school. You learn what I'm interested in, what I'm not interested in, when it's time to buckle down, become aware of how hard I have to study or how much effort I have to put into this particular class as opposed to another class. You do learn. Wait, I wouldn't say brothers, I was going to say girls because it's a lot there. So they come from different social.
You have to have priorities.
Oh yeah, you have to
have your priorities.
Self-control and all of that. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I didn't think about it from that perspective. But I was thinking from the perspective of the different types of females that you're not just talking to the girl in your neighborhood whose parents got the same type of money that you got. Like, you got different people, different backgrounds, right? And you're interested in them because they all got that type of beauty that's attracted, right? You got to then know how to engage them, and whether you are successful or not, you're learning from them.
Yeah.
Me and my wife talking about this, like, you learn from having these conversations in these. Well, I don't know if they're doing it now, but we used to be in a student center, and all of us in there joking and playing and telling stories, and these stories, you're learning from these stories
and debating about issues.
Yeah. But we were all our own little different world at that time. Everybody was trying to play out their own version of different world.
Tell you now, that's the reason why I went to college. I thought I went to college with people like,
yeah, it was to some degree.
To ton.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my thoughts on it when it came out of that.
But ask the question one more time.
Well, how do you think education played into relationships and our roles as lovers? Yeah.
I always wanted somebody who was smarter than me or smarter than me.
You got that.
Because even though sometimes I push back on it, I need to be challenged. Mm-hmm. And I love to be challenged. I love to think. So having a woman who's educated, who still, and that I can learn from, and then sometimes also be able to teach something. This is what I needed. It might get me canceled or get me in trouble, but yes, I've.
Don't do it. Don't do it. See, the Lord don't want you to do it. That's why he not letting it come up.
So like I've dated other people that weren't as smart or that weren't on the same level.
Yeah.
And those relationships did not work. Like, boredom came very quickly because yes, it's great to talk about that show that you saw or some music. Sometimes you want to go a little bit deeper. And surface conversations are cool for we just need to blow off some steam. But surface conversations when it's quiet like this, and things need to happen, and your partner might want get something done, has an idea. I have an idea. it's good to be able to have a deeper conversation than something surface.
You brought up, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about when you say you got somebody that challenges you and is smarter than you. My wife, her education, she did, for whatever reason, a lot of research. And so I have these, she used to call them get rich quick schemes. And they work, and I just have an entrepreneur spirit. But what she did was enhance that because she had questions. If I gave her an idea, now she got questions. That made me, her research, that the things that she learned around research pushed me that if I'm gonna have this idea, I got to go beyond that. It's a great idea. I got to do a little bit of research because I know when I go to her and say, I got this idea, she got 1,000 questions I got to be ready to answer. And that just bettered me as a person. Before I even got started in trying to be an entrepreneur, it bettered me because I knew I had to be ready. And I think from an education standpoint, that definitely helped us. Beyond just, neither one of us educated. You got an idea? Okay, you got the money? All right, let's go.
Because money can't always stop you from doing what you want to do, doing what you need to do. Because there's always ways to get stuff done.
Right.
It might take you a little bit longer to get to money that you want.
Yeah. Going back to resources. Learn how to
use a resource. Because how many times were we broke? We still find a way to go to a party.
Oodles and noodles go a long way, boy.
That's right. So you talk about that because that in that sense it takes us to being a provider. Like our education has allowed us to be able to provide.
Yeah, I love that segue, Chris. That segue, boy. They need it. I don't know. They need to give you a round of applause for that segue.
I hope it's like one of the little buttons. Like
yeah. But yeah, it goes over into that provider role.
So like you touched on that in your last several comments. Our education allowed us, even though we sometimes did jobs we didn't want to, we did jobs that we had to, by being able to make those connections, or sometimes using the connections we had from college and outside of college. Like I did grad school for a semester or 2 semesters for an MBA program. Didn't like it. Still contact some of those people. Helped me get a job at another retailer. And connections, or when I open my business, is being able to engage, have a conversation. And I didn't know how to write a business plan, but able to write a business plan and also put numbers together. Like using those things I learned in the economic class I took, the accounting class I took in college, and being able to apply it in the real world. I should have hired an accountant after that, so going forward, but that's here or there. But having the knowledge, and by having that paper for one, also opened doors that would have normally opened for me. The doors would open. I would have been making probably 20-30% less per year if I didn't have that piece of paper.
Yeah.
And also to the expectations, probably because how I was interviewed, or my personality, the expectations of me when I got there was much higher, and they had a trajectory for me that was not always what I wanted or sought out to have. But those times I got a associate manager position, and that's what I wanted to be because I didn't want no more responsibility. But the expectation was the people be a GM. I'll tell you a story about that too. Like one time I'll tell you a story now. I was at a place, I was hitting my numbers, hitting my stuff. Not as high as I did this year, but still performing better than most of the other managers. You know what a PIP is?
What?
Performance improvement.
Okay.
Last time I give you those, if you go on the PIP, guys, there's a good chance you might be trying to get you out.
Wow.
So I went on a PIP, not because I was underperforming, it's because I wasn't performing to what my standard was over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
They put me on the PIP. My numbers went back up, increased. The PIP was supposed to be for 90 days. 33 days later, I got promoted to a general manager.
Okay. So that was a good thing.
But sometimes the work we put in school, get educated, we don't realize we still put that same amount of energy in that work.
God.
And I had told myself I did not want to be a GM.
Okay.
I didn't want that responsibility.
But you end up taking it.
Going back and taking that responsibility.
Did you regret it?
No, everything. There's little things I regret doing, the experience that I made. But I do wish I made different decisions. Like all the experiences I had in my life has formed me to who I am. There's things I would go back and do different. If I could do it again. But regret, I made a decision to do those things, whatever I've done.
When I think about this provider thing, I'm thinking about the accountability that comes with it. Going from school, I remember coming in. When I came in, I was on a conditional basis because I had a high SAT score but low GPA from high school, and so I had to make. I think I had to make a 2.8, 2.7 or something like that. In order for me to be able to come back that spring semester. And I think I ended up with like a 3.1 or 3.2. But setting goals and then measuring your success as a result of that. Once I did that at 3.1, 3.2, I was like, oh, I got this. I can graduate from college. It was a gift and a curse for me. I knew I could do it, but then it was a curse because it was like, oh, this was easy work. And then I started kind of playing around, and I think I went back on academic probation one other time, maybe twice, but I was always able to set that goal and get out of it. And then learning, like, at the time when we was in school, you had to have a certain GPA for your major, so I would always hit that. And then for everything else, I was just
that was me.
I was just chilling.
My general ed, my major classes, I had a decent GPA.
Yeah,
general ed classes.
Yeah,
that.
But just doing that, and you learn the system, right? And so that learning that system in college actually helps you get out of school because you got to learn the system of paying bills, credit, what you need to do to get the house, what you need to do to get a car, what you need to do to still be able to go on vacations. And in the midst of paying all of these things, you're setting goals, measuring your success based off of that. When I look back over my life, the Lord, along with me, has been able to attain a lot. I say along with me because I've done my part.
Because you put you put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely did my part. But couldn't have done it without him either. But I've been blessed, tremendously blessed, and still got so much more to go. Chris, we knocked it out. We finally knocked it out.
Say something like that part. It's like, asking a provider, have you noticed your kids kind of want to, they might not want to get you the same degree.
Yeah.
They want to follow you. They want to go to school.
Yeah.
They also want to challenge you, what you don't know about college or applying for college.
You're ahead of me. So I haven't.
I got another one applying for college.
Okay.
And we're trying to get this young lady, you know what? Hold this storm little clip. I'm going to call her out. Like, so next year is her senior year. And she only needs really 3 classes to graduate. And they do the course that they split the year.
Okay. So she can go for the whole year.
No, she can go for half the year.
Okay.
And graduate in January and December.
Yeah.
And we're trying to encourage her to go to tech, take general ed classes.
Mm-hmm.
Forget AP. I know. I might.
Yeah.
Like AP classes, young people are great, but if you can take the same classes at tech or the college in your community while you're in high school, dual enrollment, those classes automatically transfer. You don't have to pass it. You don't need a 3 or 4 or 5, whatever the score is you need. Class to transfer. So we're going to this conversation like so I said, you're gonna get out of school at 11:30. So you're enrolling in classes for tech. That was part of the agreement. This young lady tells us, I know what my major going to be. Those classes won't transfer. Why should I go to a lesser school when I can get the same? And I'm going to get a better education. I said, general ed. And if you can get those classes transferred and be up a year in school, and you don't have to take those classes and you can get into your major classes sooner, why not? But we don't know. But like, I'm sorry, I digress.
There is I was trying to look it up while you was talking. If she didn't want to go to that school, to Piedmont Tech, I mean not Piedmont Tech, to a technical school or community college, there's a website, there's two of them, where you can pay $150, somewhere between $150 for a class, and you can look to see what school you want to go to. So say you want to go to Augusta State University, you can go to that website and it'll tell you all the classes at Augusta State University that will accept from them, and you take that class online at your own pace, and it's $150 per, about $150 per course. I'll send that to you. It's a link. I need to look it
I
up.
already take some classes.
But yeah, and hopefully we'll get my son to take some. But yeah, it's interesting. I think we got off a little bit, but
Well, actually, one that's in college, she come back home. She might be taking some classes at Tech, some general ed classes that she can transfer and not have to pay that hour rate at her school. But you digress. I'm Chris, and
I'm Curvin.
thank you for joining us on this episode. A little bit longer than planned, much longer than planned. I guess that's what happened when you change locations of recording. But make sure you check out all our socials, fan base, Instagram, YouTube, definitely fan base, YouTube, and also look out for some of our lives that might be popping up sooner or later, even before you see this episode even drop. But again, if you have any questions, hit up our social, put in the comments, jump into Curvin's DM, ask questions, and we see you next time. Peace.
All right, till next time.